controversy over the Cross River North Senatorial seat after a Supreme Court judgment delivered. Contenders to the seat insists that the senator on the seat is illegally occupying that seat. We hear from both sides tonight. And the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, today emphasized on the essence and the impact of technology and research and also innovation to generate wealth in Nigeria. He says 0.5% of Nigeria's GDP will be devoted to research and innovation. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Akimali at our studio here in the nation's political capital, Abuja. Tonight, we hope to be able to resolve what has become a very crucial legal and political impasse in the National Assembly. Can a senator be occupying an illegal seat, or is there anything else occupying an illegal seat in the National Assembly? That's the lawmaking chamber of the nation. Two people are laying claims to the Cross River North Senatorial seat. We get to that in a bit, so stay with us. We hope to untie what has become a very major controversy in Nigeria's politics today. Let's tell you first and foremost that the federal government will commit 0.5% of the GDP of the nation on research and innovation. Today, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, at the Technology Expo at the Eagle Square in Abuja, says the nation will need technology and innovation to generate wealth. Take a listen to the Vice President.
As a government, we are committed to providing an enabling environment for the science and technology sector in order to unlock the enormous potential for innovation, for wealth creation and economic growth. We are currently working to bridge the digital divide by increasing access to broadband connectivity with our National Broadband Plan, which was launched just this year. The plan is aimed at achieving 90% broadband penetration by 2025.
These are the plans of the Buhari-led government on how they want to handle technology and what it can do for the nation. Before we go into a conversation for tonight, which will definitely be one that will be form of a debate and form of a legal conversation around a political impasse, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
President Muhammadu Buhari has met with the new World Trade Organization Director General and former Finance Minister of Nigeria, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, at the State House in Abuja. It is Dr. Okonjo-Iweala's first visit to Nigeria since assuming office as the head of the WTO.
Nigeria is actively participating right now in some negotiations that are ongoing to reach an agreement on how we can better support micro, medium and small enterprises. Since our economies in Africa, many of them have informal enterprises, are very small enterprises.
There was drama today at the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Two factions of the African Action Congress clashed, with one of the factions led by social activist Omoyele Sowore, while the second faction was led by Dr. Leonard Ezenwa. The Sowore faction staged protest at the commission over an alleged imposition of leadership on the party, which it claimed was formed by him in 2018. The Ezenwa group was chanting against the Sowore faction, a development that led to the group's exchanging of words and engaging in a brawl. According to Mr. Ezenwa, Sowore has been expelled from the party due to anti-party activities. He also accused Sowore of siphoning the party's fund. Some politicians in Imo State are still in the celebratory mood as the governor, Hope Uzodinma, marks a year in office. A group under the aegis of Owerri's own leaders of thought has passed a vote of confidence on the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, as he marks 1 year in office as governor of the state. Rising from a strategic meeting held in Owerri, the state capital, the Owerri's own leaders commended the state governor for all the achievements recorded by his administration in the last 1 year in office, especially in restoring the confidence of the people in governance, infrastructural development, and plugging all loopholes of corruption in government. While declaring their total support for the Uzodinma-led administration, they also urged the government not to relent in her efforts to implement the recommendations of the White Paper report by the Judicial Panel of Inquiry into land and other related matters that indicted former Governor Rochas Okorocha. The meeting had in attendance the Deputy Governor of Imo State, Professor Placid Njoku, former Deputy Governor of the state, Ada Okono, and a host of others.
What we have just done today, we have come here to endorse what the state stakeholders did about 2 weeks ago. We have come to affirm it, endorse it, and agree with the white paper. We have come to say we are Owerri Zone. We are supporting His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma. We have affirmed today, Owerri Zone has affirmed today by the leaders of thought. What we have done now is what is expected from Owerri Zone.
Thank you so much. And to our major conversation of the day, there is fire on the mountain, and it is in the red chambers of the National Assembly. A member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Agam Jarigbe, has cried out over alleged delay by Senate President Ahmed Lawan to swear him into office. Mr. Agam is asking that it should be inaugurated and Senator Stephen Ode should be removed from office. This was coming after the Supreme Court judgment on February 25th, 2021, declaring Jarigbe as a duly elected senator for the senatorial district in place of Senator Stephen Ode, who is still holding on to the seat. Honorable Jarigbe is a serving member of the House of Representatives representing Ogoja, Yala Federal Constituency. He said Senator Ode lacked the right to attend Senate proceedings due to the Supreme Court's order. Interesting thing is that we understand that both Senator Ode and Honorable Agam have certificates of return from INEC, which certificate of return basically is as though you are the candidate for the seat. So interesting, isn't it? So the big question is, who is the rightful occupant of the seat? We have lawyers representing the two sides of the divide tonight. Mr. Godwin Ofiono is here in the studio with me in Abuja. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Shehu.
And he's a lawyer to Honorable Jarigbe Agam. And from Washington, D.C., is Mr. Daniel Buwala, a lawyer speaking for Senator Stephen Ode. He joins us from D.C. Thank you so much, Mr. Buwala, for your time tonight. And let's begin the conversation. You are the aggrieved party here. Your client is not happy. Yeah. Give us a sense of what is going on the mind of your client. Let's know his grievance, because Honorable Jarigbe says Senator Ode lacked the right to attend Senate plenaries, invariably saying that he's occupying that seat illegally.
Yeah, that position is very correct. Yes, there was a judgment of the High Court of Abuja declared Right Honorable Jarigbe Agam Jarigbe as the winner of the election that was conducted, the primary election that was conducted on the 5th of September of 2020. The primary election of the party of the PDP that led to the major election for the senator for the Cross River State Northern Senatorial District. Yes, that judgment. It would be very interesting for me to read a portion of that judgment to
because
the hearing of.
we're going to be dwelling much on the Supreme Court judgment, which is
very well. It flows from there.
We have more than 10 court cases.
It flows from there. It flows from there on this matter.
And so,
yes, it flows from there. Yes,
the Supreme Court judgment is perhaps the premise in which
very well. I won't take our time. I'll take our time. Yes, that the second defendant, which is INEC, is fought with order to give the first defendant every other right and privileges pertaining to his lawful qualification and nomination as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the Cross River North senatorial by-election. Emphasis is given according the rights and privileges to the first defendant, who is Honorable Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe. That matter was appealed against to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal affirmed the judgment of the High Court. Affirmed the judgment of the High Court to the effect that the judgment of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, delivered by Honorable Binta Mohammed on the 4th day of November 2020, is hereby affirmed as to who was the winner of that election, that primary election of 5th September.
So invariably, your client, Honorable Jarigbe, is saying he is a candidate of the PDP.
Very well.
So the appeal court affirmed it. The Supreme Court affirmed
very
it.
well.
That's what you're saying.
And yes.
So invariably, let me try to emphasize this or try to get this out of you to our audience. So that a lot of them who do not know what has become the history of this case. Now, did your client, Honorable Jarigbe, did he partake in the election?
Very well, he did. He did. Of course.
It took part in the primaries.
Very well.
But he didn't run in the main election.
He did. Of course, you see, you know, there was in the primary election, and ordinarily, of course, in any primary election, INEC will send a representative, a monitor, to monitor the election. INEC did same, gave a power of attorney to one Modibo, who went and monitored that election. And Modibo returned back to the institution INEC with a report of the outcome of that election.
And what
to the effect that Honorable Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe participated in the election and won the election. That was transmitted to INEC. And INEC received it and certified it.
So the controversy is about the delegate list, which at the end of the day was a case you took to court. And so that's the premise in which your client is saying Senator Ode should not be in that seat.
Of course, you see, yes, really.
Just a moment, because you've said that one side of it, you know. But let me hear from the the lawyer representing Senator Ode on the program tonight. Mr. Buala, you've heard what Mr. Ofiona said in respect of his client, Honorable Jarigbe. In view of the Supreme Court judgment, why is Senator Ode still in that seat?
Thank you for having me. Sometimes it is funny how people interpret judgment. The judgment of the Supreme Court, the order, the ruling of the Supreme Court was premised on one, the appeal filed by Senator Ode. Now, what the Supreme Court did was the Supreme Court upheld the preliminary objection of Jarigbe. And the preliminary objection is challenging the substance of the appeal on the premise that the address for service was not proper. And the Supreme Court extensively analyzed the law, referred to Order 2 and Order 5, and said that if the enabling act states that a rule must be obeyed as a condition precedent, if a party fails to do that, then the appeal of that party will not be substantive. So in other words, Supreme Court did not delve on the substance of the appeal. Supreme Court upheld the preliminary objection of Jarigbe. That has nothing to do with the candidature, the qualification, the sanctity, and the winning of Ode. But fact matters, and let me give you the facts, because the lawyer you have in your studio is being economical with the facts. There was a primaries. The Electoral Act is clear. Anybody who does not participate in all the stages of election cannot be declared as a winner. Now, there was a primaries. And in that primaries, Senator Ode emerged the winner by a vote that is over 600% the vote secured by Jaribe. Now, aggrieved by that decision, Jaribe went on what in law we call forum shopping, looking for every available court that will listen to him. In the meantime, Senator Ode, having been declared the winner of the primaries, now took a step further to do what the Electoral Act prescribed as grounds for participating in all the stages of the election. So he went to the court, and he went to INEC, submitted documentation, INEC published his name, and then at the general election, he participated. Jaribe did not. Jaribe was busy going from one court to the other. And in the final election,
Mr. Boala,
Senator Ode won the election.
We are due for a break on the program. But when we come back, we give our viewers a sense of what this is all about. A seat there is in contest out of the 109 seats in the Senate. But where do we go from here? Accusing fingers at the leadership of the Senate. And again, the Supreme Court judgment, there's a controversy on the interpretation. And that's what we're discussing tonight. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back. So much, everyone, for staying with us right here. It's a battle for the battle of Ogoja, the Cross River North Senatorial District seat in the Senate is what we're discussing tonight. And two lawyers are giving us perspective from the different divides where they're standing. Godwin Ofiono is a lawyer to Honorable Agam Jaribe, and Daniel Boala is a lawyer to Senator Stephen Ode. Both of them are giving perspective to where they stand in this matter. Let me allow you to learn, and I will get the reaction of Mr. Godwin Ofiono to what you've said as regarding the non-participation of Honorable Jaribe in the whole process of the election. He has a reaction he told me before we came back from that break.
So Ode was declared the winner in the primaries and then proceeded to perfect his participation in the election. Jaribe now went to court challenging the candidacy of Senator Ode. Now, for you to challenge the candidacy of someone, that means you have impliedly acknowledged and recognized him as the candidate of the party. In any case, he lost in both cases. He went to Court of Appeal and equally lost on that ground. In the meanwhile, Senator Ode he won the election, was declared the winner. He went to the Senate and was sworn in as a senator in total compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act and the extant laws. Now, Ajaribe is parading the Court of Appeal decision that says he should be accorded all of the privileges of the candidate of a political party. But what he fails to about
the last bus stop of any legal case is the Supreme Court. Talk to us about the Supreme Court judgment. That is a final judgment in this matter, which says that Honorable Jaribe is a duly elected candidate of the PDP for that seat.
I'm trying to pull that order of the Supreme Court. That is a fallacy. Let me read it to you, Seun, the enroll order of the court. It says, it is ordered, therefore, one, that the preliminary objection on the competence of the service of the notice of appeal succeed. That is the primary objection that was raised by Jaribe. Two, that the need to consider the issues raised in the appeal will therefore automatically abate. Meaning that if the preliminary objection is sustained, there is no way the appeal will be heard. And then the last one, that the improper and ineffective service complaint of is struck out. These three orders of the Supreme Court is the premise of the judgment. It did not delve on the substance. It did not declare Jaribe as the winner. It did not even recognize the propriety or otherwise of Jaribe's sanctity as was paraded by the Court of Appeal. And the enroll order is what I have read to you. You can see it there. Now, if Jaribe wants to parade the order or the judgment of the Court of Appeal and wants to implicate the Supreme Court into what the Supreme Court has not said, and in this our practice, if a matter comes to the Supreme Court and something becomes a subject matter, they must first deal with that issue before they go to the substance. Unfortunately, because the Supreme Court held that preliminary objection, the Supreme Court didn't have the opportunity to look at the substance of the case. In other words, there is no judgment of the Supreme Court that declared Jaribe as the authentic candidate. And don't forget, no matter the judgment of the Court of Appeal that says it should be accorded the privilege.
You've emphasized you've stated your case in this matter. I'll allow you to react. And your client said he alleged that there are some discrepancies in the process of swearing him in, and that his file is missing in transit to the Senate President and the clerk desk at the Senate. And is claiming or is suspecting foul play.
Yes, Seun, you see, in response to my learned friend on the other side, to say that the Supreme Court did not look at the merit of the matter, therefore it's a nullity. It's quite very surprising and very appalling. A very senior lawyer of his standing would make such a pronouncement.
Did the Supreme Court make a substance?
Yes, an appeal came from the Court of Appeal. And what was the grievance of the appellant in that appeal? That there was a declaration on an order or a judgment of the Court of Appeal that affected him. That he is a sitting senator, whereas some other person has been declared to take up his position. That was his grievance. And that was his prayer to the Supreme Court, that contesting that he was truly the winner and not as declared by the Court of Appeal.
So you don't agree with what Mr. Buwala said?
No, I totally disagree with him.
That the Supreme Court did not deal on the substance?
No, look,
You think Supreme Court dealt with the substance?
No, the Supreme Court, look, it was a split decision of the Supreme Court. The panelists, the four members of the panel, looked at the preliminary objection. And the three panel looked at the substance. However, the three members of the panel, agreed, or came to the conclusion that Dr. Ode was a winner. But the four other persons, the four other members of the panel, did not go into it and say, you have not come properly. That your notice of appeal is defective. And as much as that notice of appeal was defective, that they would not look at it.
And of course, the superior...
that is it, because the majority.
Because
the majority will take the day.
So, because we're running out of time now. So, I asked you a question. Your client said he has transferred his file through his lawyers to the Senate, that it should be inaugurated. and he says he sees a foul play. What foul play is it talking about here?
Well, you see, yes, you know, when the judgment was given on the 25th of last month, the service was not served, was not affected rather, on the Senate. So we thought, you know, that, okay, sorry, and when service was effected, at the point service was effected, that was about last week, about 4 days ago or 5 days ago, we ordinarily expect that, having received the judgment, having received, received service, that the proper thing ought to have been done.
By inaugurating him.
By inaugurating
That's
him.
what you think is the proper thing.
Yes.
But don't you think that there is a confusion here? Because you are a lawyer, Mr. Bwala is a lawyer, both of you are defending your clients in this case, and you are disagreeing on the Supreme Court judgment.
Let me mention this.
Do you think that there is a need to go back to the Supreme Court to interpret this?
There is no need, and there's no contradiction whatsoever in this.
You think?
There's no ambiguity.
To the ordinary eye, we are seeing contradiction. We're seeing confusion.
It is commonsensical even that you appeal against a judgment, but if that the judgment had declared somebody a winner, who is supposed to occupy your seat, and that you challenge it, and no, I am the winner. And you went there, and the court said you have not even come properly, and struck out the matter.
Mr. Bwala said your client did not participate in the whole gamut of the election.
How?
Did he go through all parts of the election?
He did. Of course he did.
Mr. Bwala, let me
Otherwise,
yeah.
Okay, why was, INEC that monitored the election, gave a report. INEC should be an unbiased empire that came to that election to monitor the election and gave a report to the effect that Honorable Jerry Begum won the election.
All right, Mr. Bwala, you heard what he said. He said his client participated, but you claim that the client did not participate. So do you think that it's fair to go to the Supreme Court to reinterpret and affirm the decision or the position? Because it looks like there's ambiguity and confusion.
No, there is no confusion anywhere. His client is just a meddlesome interloper. And let me say 3 straight points, beginning with the Supreme Court. He has admitted by what he told you now, that it was a split panel of 3 to 4. Unfortunately, he has not been able to know that the majority decision is the one that upheld the preliminary objection. If the preliminary objection was rejected, then the court must hear the appeal. Having sustained the preliminary objection, there was no need to hear the appeal. You cannot sustain the objection and hear the appeal at the same time. 1. 2, the judgment that he is talking about that he got in his favor, the rule of law is that you must first invalidate the certificate issued by INEC to Ode first. Then you declare this second person as the winner and then order INEC to issue certificate. There is nowhere in the law where you say a party should be accorded privilege and that statement will now translate itself into declaration of that person as a winner. And thirdly, anybody who does not participate in all the stages of election cannot be declared a winner, even if subsequently he obtained any kind of order or any kind of relief.
We're out of time, totally out of time. But it's just a sentence. I'll allow you to make your final thought, final statement. I'm starting with you, Mr. Bwala. Your final statement here. Where do you think we should go from here?
No, parties should maintain status quo, which is that Senator Ode remains the Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The other person can continue his foreign shopping. That's it. There's no ambiguity or problem in this matter.
All right. Mr. Ofiono, your final submission here.
I want to say that even if a judgment is given per incuriam, that is to say, if given in error, it is a judgment of a court. And the Supreme Court is the final court, and that judgment has been transmitted, and it must be obeyed. It must be obeyed. Otherwise, there are consequences, of course, of disobedience of court order.
Mr. Godwin Ofiono is a lawyer to Honorable Agam, and Mr. Daniel Bwala is speaking as a lawyer for Senator Stephen Ode. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight on this very confusing situation here that we found ourselves. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Kimale. Bye-bye.